Well, it's 7:08. I think we should go ahead and start, and I'll just keep anyone's showing. So we're starting. Welcome to the May 20th Bristol Energy Committee meeting. We have a couple of guests here. Peter Brothers from Acorn Energy, and we have, there he is. And we have Jono Chapin, who is a Bristol resident and interested in energy and solar and stuff like that. And then we have our members, Carl and Richard and Stephen and Mike and myself.
And possibly
and John, who we can't see. And yeah, Stephen's here. All right, great. All right, so John wanted another addition to the agenda, and I'll go ahead and read that since it doesn't seem like he is able to. He would like to have us have a discussion about the money that's coming in for, I think the federal money that's coming in, billions of dollars arriving. And he thinks it should be partly used to meet the needs of people who are really needing energy in this winter, like the LIHEAP does a lot of work with helping assist people, and he thinks it'd be great if we work together somehow with legislators to see if some money could be funneled in that direction.
Sally,
go ahead.
Sally, I spoke to John around 5 or so, and he kind of outlined what his idea was. When we get to it, if he's not on, I could maybe sub for him. Okay,
great. Excellent. So we'll say that agenda item is on the agenda now. So the first thing we have on the agenda is an update on the Acorn Energy solar project in Bristol. And I kind of got some information from Ian about the select board meeting, and also Stephen had something sent to him and it gave me some information, but now we have Peter right here. So we could hear a little from Peter if he wants.
I will say a few things. Ben Marks was on the call, on the Zoom, but Richard, you were there, right? Richard Butts.
Which meeting are you talking about?
Oh, this is Monday select meeting, May 18th.
No, I was not on that one.
Okay. I can go through this rather quickly to update you what was with respect to our project.
Okay.
What points were made, and Kevin Brown was there as well.
So Kevin is the attorney.
Yes. Screening. The majority of the board was for no additional screening of the array. Ben said, well, we're open to it, but the board said they will not pursue screening at this time. Although if a resident with property views makes a fuss, this issue could come back. And that seems rather unlikely, but I shouldn't editorialize. Pollinators. Nils Ben explained that we will not be generally grading the site. He further said he did not want to distribute existing vegetation too much. However, in areas that were disturbed, he committed to using a pollinator-friendly mix where possible. I'm quoting Nils Ben there, the president of our contractor, Aegis. He also discussed our recent AES2, our last project that just went online, about 2.5 months ago, where we are right now planting pollinator mixtures. Maintenance responsibilities, and this is rather legal. I could get into it. It's several lines, and Kevin will work out some language to make a change for whatever event might happen for lost electric production during repairs to the cap. And it's a kind of a force majeure issue and not to be expected at all. Insurance. Kevin asked that AES3 maintain insurance during the option period prior to the lease. We don't have control until the lease is actually in effect and live. And so we will have no insurance in place. If there is damage to the landfill cap during the site investigations, that was his concern. Nils of Aegis offered that his subs would have insurance for their investigation study activities. The only ones that would be taking place during the option period, and that's before the lease is actually in place. And he had no problem for making the town an additional insured. Problem solved. Kevin also asked whether ANR had taken any position on the amendment of the town's recent landfill closure permit. And Ben said it hadn't come up. Ben Martz said it hadn't come up. And we're happy to have him on the phone for future ANR discussions so that he could ask them himself. Overall, the meeting had an upbeat tone. There were not any thorny issues, really. And Ben is confident that we can resolve the issues outlined above. So Ben, who is a lawyer, will be talking to Kevin from time to time. And that's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Peter. I talked to Ian this morning, I guess it was, or yesterday, about how the meeting went from his perspective as a select board member. And he felt like all select board members, had questions about, mainly all the select board members agreed that it's a great project and all that, but the lawyer just wanted to make sure that some details. So they spent quite a while talking about these details, but it sounds like they will be signing, the lease. The MOU was already signed, and so this is just
Right.
wrapping up the lease agreement. And it's just everyone wants to make sure it's really clear, since it's a 25-year commitment that the town is stepping into. But it sounds like it should go that way. And I think probably Kevin Brown just needs to sign off on it, or just say, hey, yeah, your latest things are good enough. Is that what you think, Peter?
That's what I get from Ben, and it's in the tone of his after meeting minutes as well. Yes.
And then Energy expects to move forward after that is signed with the Department of, the Department of Financial Regulation, and
That's one of
that kind of thing.
One of the things before we can approach investors, non-accredited investors, we have to have a complete review and acceptance of how we do this by the DFR, Department of Financial Regulation. We did this couple of years ago, before all the delays, and then they know exactly what our business plan is, and we don't expect any delays. Matter of fact, the thing is pretty much all written, except for the special details.
Right. So you're referring to, you went through the whole process with Shoreham, and now that that's been done, and this is going to be similar, then it should go pretty quickly, you're saying.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Great. All right. And so that's great. I guess we're up to, that's the update. There's not much more we know. We just wait until things start moving and we hear from when you want to, reach out to people more. And do we have a role in that, or do you just do all of that yourself? Acorn
Sally,
Energy.
we're not going to ignore you, Sally.
That's great.
No, you have a lot of influence on this. It's been great. There is one sticky thing until we get the lease option agreement actually signed by the board, and I think that's imminent. We can't move on a request to the power company, Green Mountain Power, to start designing and figuring out how much the line is going to cost. And it's about 1,300 feet, as I recall, from the last pole where three-phase power ends. We'll pick that three-phase power up and bring it down. I'm sorry, I'm not remembering.
That's okay. From Munsell over to Pine Street.
Exactly. And then down a steep hill and connect to our new pole. And we don't have permission for them to start yet, but that's imminent.
Great. All right. Well, thanks.
Is there anything else you want me to?
Thinking about it, Peter. I think people, I don't think so, but I just wanted to say that people have been asking about it and are interested, so that's great.
Well, who else wants to ask a question before I go? The dinner looks great.
So, Peter, I think Sally already answered this, and I think you did too, but I just want to be clear. Our next step as the Bristol Energy Committee is we're just in waiting mode to find out from you folks what our next step is.
Find out from us what your next, what is? You're cut out there.
Okay, sorry. What should the Bristol Energy Committee be doing next?
Well, I don't want to say anything in front of Richard, so I
You want me to black out?
No, speed is still of the essence. We're not panicked yet, and one of our deadlines got slid back a month, but we still need to keep things rolling. And I think the CPG, the Certificate of Public Good, shouldn't be that much of a problem. Once we have permission, we can apply for it. From the board, we can apply for it. And since this is a preferred site, as you probably well know, having a solar array on a landfill is where they want it. And we're actually, it gives a project an extra 1 cent per kilowatt hour for 10 years. So no biggie, but I think we don't see any problems with the Certificate of Public Good.
Great. So do you see anything at all that the Energy Committee could be doing right now to be helpful, or just wait?
No, just stay close to your telephone.
All right. Great.
No, I can't think of anything.
All right. Cool.
And Mr. Engvall, you show up as Caroline. Are you Carl?
Yeah. Yeah, my wife and I are easily confused. I'm Carl. My wife was the last one to use the computer, so the computer thinks it's her, but no, it's really me.
I know it's you.
All right, well, I guess that's it. If no one has any questions for Peter, then we'll move on to our next agenda item.
If something comes up, somebody have a pencil, want to write down my phone number?
Sure, I've got one.
Okay.
388-2204.
What if parentheses the wizard next to that?
The wizard.
At this age, I'm feeling less and less like that, Jono.
Actually, the next agenda item is Be the Change.
Oh,
And Richard is going to talk about some of that, I believe. And that has to do with the solar array.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just suggested to Richard that we might want to, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you call the other one Rich Carpenter, it'll be easier for us because he usually goes by Rich and you go by Richard. It'll
Okay.
make it easier for us to know who's being talked about.
Oh man, this is confusing. I had a hard time with my own name.
You're Richard.
Okay, so I talked to Rich, or I emailed Rich and just suggested the idea of planting pollinator plants in the array and mentioned Be the Change, which is Rich, here we go, which is Mike Kernan's, Kernan's group.
Yep.
And he said that you had done that in Shoreham. You had just signed an agreement.
That's right.
And so I don't have any further information on that. I just posited it to get it into the mix. And I think you've addressed it pretty well, Peter.
Well, I think Sally's idea of having sheep grazing up there, the bees are a lot easier to handle than,
Yeah.
Sally doesn't even have any sheep.
Yeah, you don't have to shear the bees.
Wow.
I think that the pollinators could be great. I love the idea of putting them wherever the area has already been disturbed. And I think that we may or may not need to hire Be the Change. We could hire them, but if it was only a small thing, maybe it's something that some of us residents could do. Put some good pollinator plants in spots. I mean, I just went and got a bunch of good plants today that are going to go in my garden area, and they're meant for pollinating.
Yeah.
You know, so depends on how much we want to do.
I have a packet of seeds as well. But I think it's in our budget, Sally.
Okay.
But if you want to keep pushing, that's fine.
No, that's all right. Whatever. I think it's great that we go forth however we go forth, and we'll keep in touch about how it works.
Great. Anything else? I'll hit the leave button.
We want you to stay on. We don't, you know, that dinner can wait till tomorrow.
Were you watching when I stood on the scale, Richard, this morning?
We don't have that kind of relationship.
Jeez.
I'm going to head back out to get some work done while there's still some light, but I was interested in the Be the Change part of the agenda, and it sounds like that's been covered. So good progress to hear about the solar part of the agenda and continued swift movement on it all.
Swift,
Thanks,
please.
John.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, can I hit leave now?
Yep, you're free to go.
Little red button, and you got my phone number. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Enjoyed it.
Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
All right. Let's see now. Looks like I have my agenda where I can't see it. So does anyone have an agenda on hand?
Let's see.
Maybe I can get it.
The
Uh,
Vermont climate legislation,
Oh, here it is.
summary
Yeah.
by Richard.
I have it here. So I just need to get back to my thing and I can share my screen. Oh my goodness. Can you guys see that?
We can.
Okay. So the third is the Vermont climate legislation summary by Richard.
From bees to climate legislation. I hope we don't get stung. So this is a really, really busy period right now after a lot of delay because of, understandably, because of COVID-19 concerns. The legislature has now turned to some important regular business. And I sent around a status report on the legislative situation in regard to climate. So I'm not going to go over that, except to say that tomorrow, coming out of the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy will be the Vermont Global Warming Solutions Act. This was passed overwhelmingly in the House, and we really want to contact our legislators right away, particularly in Addison County, because Chris Bray is our shepherd on this, and we want to let them know how important it is to us that the Global Warming Solution Act be passed. It's going to be discussed on quote unquote the floor of the Senate tomorrow and Friday, and hopefully passed with an overwhelming majority. And we need to do several things. First of all, we need to thank our representatives, both senators and legislators, regarding the work they've been doing on COVID-19. But also, they have been working on, they've passed, let's see, S337, which is an act relating to energy efficiency utilities that's passed out of natural resources and energy by the Senate. That's been passed. And then H185, which is a kind of an unexpected bill, was passed in the House and referred to the Senate. And that's a public health bill that will be important in future crises. I don't have the details on it, but it's really being looked at as part of climate legislation because it will kind of set the stage as we had not had it set when COVID-19 came about. So we want to thank them for the work they've been doing on that. But really tonight or tomorrow morning, email Chris and any other representative, any other senator, what's her name? I keep forgetting, regarding the passage of this bill with a big majority. There is some.
Is it Ruth Hardy?
Ruth Hardy, yeah, I don't know why I blew it out. We really need to have a good majority. There is some concern, I understand, about this bill. I think my understanding is that Chris is a little bit worried about the fact that it, in his eyes, may remove some of the responsibility from the legislature and assign it to the executive. But and there was some concern it might be unconstitutional, but the Attorney General has looked into it and said that's not the case. And there are all kinds of protections, including the control of the money remains in the hands of the legislature. So this is one of these bills that's really critical. It sets the mandates that have been only suggestions, essentially, regarding climate change. It makes 90 by 2050 a mandate, and will enable citizens to pursue that if along the way, and other mandates pursue that if it doesn't happen. So this is a really important bill. I'm working with other groups, faith action groups, several of them, to contact people. And John and I talked this afternoon about the fact that we might want to send an email to the other energy committees in the state from our energy committee. And I emailed late this afternoon a draft letter to that effect. I don't know if any of you had a chance to see it or not.
Yes, you can.
So basically, the action is contact Chris Bray and Ruth Hardy. If you have any friends anywhere in other districts, contact them to put the pressure on. And John is willing to email this letter to the other energy committees. He's got their addresses, email addresses, from us as the Bristol Energy Committee, urging them to support this legislation.
This is John McCormick. I believe I'm back on.
Oh,
good.
great. So I'm really glad you spoke up, because I couldn't tell who was trying to get into the meeting, and I've heard you're not supposed to let someone in unless they're cool. So I'm grateful to hear your voice, John.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh, but I'm not. Okay. Somehow I got off the video too. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, Richard, thank you so much for that. And there was a little thing in there I didn't hear because the thing got a little funky, but did anyone not hear some particular seeming gem that we were supposed to be hearing? Or is everyone cool? Well, it'll be in the meeting, the meeting minutes. That part will help, because it just seemed like it got fuzzy right when you were saying something that seemed important about why Chris was concerned.
I could repeat that.
That'd be great.
Then this information, it actually has been going all afternoon. I've been in contact with Ben Walsh at VPIRG, and then another one of the staffers, Kelly, called me around 5:30, and they're very anxious that all kinds of calls, emails, and so on go to the senators to get this critical piece of legislation through. Chris was, I'm told, concerned that there might be an unconstitutional aspect to this, because it might transfer some of the prerogatives of the legislature to the governor, the executive. And the Attorney General has indicated that is not the case.
Okay.
So if you hear that, you know that that's kind of on background right now. And we really need to let Chris know how important this is to us.
Yeah. I sent him your document because I saw him on the street last night, and he said he's really interested in being a part of the committee, showing up, and I thought he was going to come tonight. So he got that,
Yeah.
and so maybe, hopefully, I don't know.
Well, I
Maybe
think we could all send our own, kind of our own spin on it. They
I
say,
think,
that your personal story is really important.
I think that's great.
So whatever, thanks.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing for all the different energy committees to put their own spin on it, because it's not going to be as powerful if it's just the same
Right,
letter, even though it's a good letter.
yeah, right.
Great. Thank you for doing all that and being so involved with that.
It's hot and heavy right now, and it needs
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
Thanks for your work on that, Richard. So Richard, will you be the one who's sending out the letter on behalf of the Bristol Energy Committee?
If that's okay, John and I will be working on it.
That's fine with me. I
Okay,
think it's great.
Okay.
Do you think that's more powerful to have one from the committee rather than individuals, or can we also do individuals to our?
Oh, do
Senators.
individuals. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Do we need to make a move on that to say we agree as the Energy Committee to do that?
Yeah,
Do
I'll
we-
move that. I'll move it. And
Anyone want to second that?
I second that.
And if there's any discussion, I have a little, and that is, should we see it before we say that, or just say go for it?
well,
we've-
I have sent it to you.
Okay, so that's
Yep.
basically what it's going to be. Great.
Yeah, and we'll couch it in terms of this is the information, customize it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. The word important and importantly, there's two in a sentence that shouldn't be there, so I'd remove that second one as one thing I
Okay.
remembered to take a
Okay.
look at that.
Yeah, this was drafted in about 20 minutes.
Okay. It's very good.
Hmm.
All right, thanks. All in favor? Sounds like aye.
I,
Great,
Great.
thank you.
All right. Well, that kind of ties in John's. John, can you hear us and can you speak at this point?
well, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. That's great.
Excellent.
So you want to tell us a little bit about your idea about how are we going to suggest the money coming in goes to LIHEAP and all that kind of thing, or do you want to begin that discussion?
Yes. As I understand, the U.S. House Representatives bill could provide about $2 billion to Vermont. It arrived dead on arrival at the Senate, but there are a number of Republican states, in particular Florida, that are on the verge of bankruptcy. They're just hemorrhaged, and it would be impossible for Trump and McConnell to just write off Florida. And I'm sure there are other Republican states as well. So there will have to be some aid to the states in a House and Senate relief bill. What amount Vermont might get, no idea. Let's say it's upwards of $1 billion. I think now is the moment in time to start talking with some of the organizations, Capstone, Champlain Valley OEO, Heat Squad, etc. Groups whose interest is in assuring that homeowners, residents have heat for the winter. I also suggest that because the new budget that the governor is going to be viewing will have such a deficit to begin with, the idea that we would get money for weatherization might be a real challenge. So that might also be something that we want these groups and we working with them to peel off money for weatherization as well. Perhaps the same amount of money as in appropriated in the current fiscal year. So if we have people really looking at that windfall to the state as a way to peel off maybe, well, let's say $7 million for weatherization, we now have to look at LIHEAP recipients perhaps doubling in number because so many people have no income. I don't believe the $20 million that was appropriated by the Congress for Vermont's LIHEAP could meet all the needs. So a way to perhaps, well, deal with that shortfall might be that another demand that we make of that money from Congress would be to buy a mass purchase of heat pumps. Well, let's say 1,000 heat pumps at about $4,000 a piece. Those heat pumps could be provided to LIHEAP recipients who then could greatly diminish their need for LIHEAP funding, and that would then keep money in the LIHEAP account to cover more clients. So it's those two issues that I think the organizations most concerned about the health and well-being of Vermonters in the winter could possibly cause the governor to say, I'll shift money that we're given to weatherization, to heat pumps, to LIHEAP, to assure that in this coming winter, there'll be adequate emergency funding. Period.
Thank you.
I certainly strongly support this idea. I think the notion of not only weatherizing, but providing low-income people access to heat pumps once they have had their home weatherized really makes a lot of sense.
And because let's say that Champlain Valley OEO has a protocol for determining who is eligible for free weatherization. So I think you can use similar kinds of guidelines to identify homeowners, individual renters in whom could also qualify for either a free heat pump or let the state put a lien on the property to recoup the money that it invested in that heat pump at the point of sale of the property.
Yeah.
So this is something that, have you talked to any legislators about this, or were you trying to just first talk with our energy committee and kind of get ideas together first?
I'm bringing it to our energy committee with the idea that if we agree to pursue this, then we can start making phone calls, we can do some research, and actually perhaps even come up with a letter to appropriate people to get them thinking about this, because I don't believe anyone's thinking about what we've just discussed.
Right.
You know, when money comes to the state, people are going to say, well, now we can cover the pension fund or, opioid treatment, etc. I say we also have to consider that LIHEAP is a life and death issue for a lot of Vermonters. And if the Congress isn't going to provide LIHEAP money, then the state will have to do that, or we'll see some terrible suffering.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it sounds like a good idea. Do you, or does what do other people think about it?
Yeah. So let's just mull it over, and perhaps I can send an email note to each of us. And I'm happy. Perhaps Richard, you might work with me on that, and whomever else. But we could start to put together a fact-finding group and an action group.
Okay, I think that's something we should probably do now if we're going to do that, because we're not going to meet again for another month. And we can't
Right.
really do a whole lot when we're not in a meeting together. So,
Sure. Yeah.
who would like to be on a fact-finding group to, yeah, learn more about this and be able to, well, I guess, what do you say the things you think we should be doing, John, to,
Let me come back to the suggestion I just made, that I will send an email to each of us, and anyone who has an interest in wanting to collaborate can reply to me, and then we can take it from there.
Is the objective to come up with a proposal by the next meeting?
Well, I don't know about that, because I think we have a little bit of time. Let's say that the Senate does kick out money in June, okay? That money will be coming to the state treasurer. It's not going to be all spent down in June, but I certainly would want in June to be in contact not only with the service providers like Heat Squad, Capstone, etc., but also legislators, and particularly Senator Bray. I mean, this might be something he would champion. Weatherization, heat pumps, lie heat protection. It might be something he would say, I'll work it through the channels. We'll see. But I mean, I'm throwing an idea out on the table, and if anyone wants to noodle it with me, they can reply to my email.
Sounds good.
Good.
right? There we go.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I had some difficulty connecting with you, but my wife saved the day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know how to let you in, or if I should, because I didn't know who you were. It was not a number I recognized or anything.
Okay.
And I mean, you weren't even there for quite a while, so it was just the
I
last
listened-
little bit that you showed up on the thing. So
Yeah, I listened to most of the Acorn presentation. And, may I suggest also that we should be talking about the town dump as an industrial park where there is space available after the deployment of the solar panels for other ventures. Even someone who would want to say, I'm going to start a composting operation.
yeah.
On July 1, we can't throw our chicken bones into the dumpster. So that may be something we'd want to consider, is build it as an industrial park, looking for people who have ideas and money and can utilize that space according to rules and regulations, but utilize more of the site than just the solar panels.
I think that it is possible that people might want to do that, but I don't think the Energy Committee should decide to call it an industrial site. I think that we should let the town do that, or we could talk to people or whatever, but I don't think we should start calling it that. I think we should just, stick with, we're doing community solar.
I'm satisfied with that. Now, I have no problem with what you said.
Okay, great.
Every now and then you sound like R2D2, Sally.
Yeah, I think that happens. I just become R2D2.
Yeah. I guess I just dated myself.
Well, we were talking about, I've forgotten what those birds were. They sound like R2D2. The ones that are in the meadows with a little pom-pom on their heads. Anyway,
I
whatever.
don't know what birds you're looking at.
I've been birding a lot, and I can't remember the name of those. But anyway, the ones that they nest there, and you worry about the farmers.
Oh, the bobolinks.
There it is.
Yeah,
wobbling.
yeah,
They sound like R2D2.
yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to the next, which is, let's see, we've got Addison County Regional Planning, just events and that kind of thing. And then approving the other minutes, I think. I think that's all we have. So as far as, well, this is where I should screen share again. Let's see if it works. Okay, so the Addison County Regional Planning Commission has really gotten going with making more things available on their sites, and they've really focused on energy and made I guess a whole page or whatever it's called for energy. So check the new energy page on the Addison County Regional Planning Commission website, and they want us to suggest things that we might want to see on there. So if you take a look at it and you think, wow, they should talk about this, Andrew is totally open to things being on the Regional Planning Commission website. They're really trying to give more information, and they're really excited about energy things right now.
I think this is really a part of what we're seeing of local citizens getting tired of waiting for things to happen at the top.
Yeah.
And I think it's really they're a good group.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's great. One of the things that's been going on is a group that has formed that is a bunch of energy committees, or I guess it went out to energy committee leaders. I got an email, but I don't know if everyone on the committee got one, saying, hey, do you want to be a part of this discussion kind of statewide? And so I got on just last week and started looking at the different energy committee leaders or chair people or members, and they're talking about different interesting things they're doing across the state. So it's interesting to get involved. And so there's going to be a meeting on May 22nd at 4:00 where a bunch of energy committee people can do a meet and greet. And one of the ideas one town has is trying to get the town to lower their amount of mowing in the summer. You know, just instead of doing it once a week, do it every 10 days for the spring, and then in the summer, do it maybe every 2 weeks, or I don't know what days, 12 to some kind of, way to save money. So different towns are trying different things like that. And they're even getting the people in town, like, hey, we don't all have to mow every single week. Let's just see if we can mow every 10 days or 12 days and see how that goes and see how much energy we could save as a community. Anyway.
There's the Raise the Blade movement
yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Great. Good idea. And it's a good idea with the droughts we've been getting to raise the blade too.
Yeah.
Mm.
So if anyone is interested in showing up for that and meeting some other energy committee people, you're welcome to do that. And also you can sign up, and that is probably on the Addison County Regional Planning Commission page for energy committee members, and just get on there and you can just read what other people are doing and see what that's either way. And then looking at the whole website, the whole is yeah, it's a fun read. I haven't read it all, but there's just a lot going on, and I think they're going to be really helpful to us, and we can be helpful to them. Like, they're really excited about this solar project that we did here, and that's inspiring other committees and other people in the county. So anyway, just a good resource to check into. So should we just move on to anything else before we approve the minutes from last month? All right, great. So shall we go ahead and do that? I sent Richard's notes around, and maybe you have taken a look at those, the ones from last month. And people have enough familiarity with them to approve them? I could probably find a copy too. I don't know. I don't know.
I just scanned them. They look fine to me.
Okay, great. So does anyone want to move that we approve the minutes?
So moved.
All right, anyone second?
I second it.
Okay, great. All in favor of approving the minutes as they are, say aye.
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 If you have a sudden revelation in the middle of the night and see a change, let me know.
Okay, great. Great.
It's not
They
the
were
kind of
done very well.
revelation I'm going to have in the middle of the night.
You have other revelations.
All right, well, thanks everyone.
Good meeting,
Thank you,
Sally.
Sally.
Yeah, thank you, Sally.
Welcome.
Yep, thank you, Sally.
Stay safe, everyone. Good night.
That's it.
What's that?
Stay well.
Oh, John. Thanks, John. All right, well, have a good night. Enjoy the sunset. We're getting over before sunset.
That's it.
Wow.
Enjoy the beautiful days to come.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks. All right. Take care, everyone.
Night,
So
everyone.
long.
Good night.
Bye-bye.